Hi guys, this is Mike here from Jarmoto, and today I'm going to show you how to fit a tail tidy to a CRF300L 2026. I don't like the original tail tidy. Well, it's not a tail tidy, it's an atrocious piece of plastic that spoils the look of the bike. So let's get into this. I'll have a quick walk around the bike, show you the parts, and then explain what we're going to do. So here we have the original number plate holder, stroke mudguard, whatever you want to call it. It's quite big. I think it looks horrendous, and hence that's why I wish to change it. So I'll just get this is the replacement. I bought this on Lazada. It was in the region of 400 baht, Thailand, which is less than £10 sterling. It's probably £9, but I'll put the rest in the description. So it's simple bracket, nice and robust, feels like it'll stand the test of time, and it's powder coated black. It came with these fasteners. Personally, I don't like them, so I'm not going to use the fasteners that were sent with the part. I've bought some additional cap heads which I think are better quality, just to keep it neat and tidy. So the first task really is, although we're only moving this section here, as you'll probably see, there's a light here which is to illuminate the number plate. That light, it will no longer be used, but the light is plugged in under the seat. So what makes this task a little more long-winded is we have to remove the seat and the rear fender to get at the connector. I'm not into cutting cables, so I know we can disconnect from under the rear fender and do a proper job of it. So yeah, let's get stuck into this. So just a quick run through of exactly what we're going to need. Obviously we need the tail tidy, fasteners. I like to use a tub to keep all the fasteners in, so when you're taking stuff off, put them in the tub so they're not rolling around on the floor. You know, you put stuff on the seat, it rolls off, you lose it. So yeah, put everything in the tub and then you ain't going to lose anything. Tools, you're only going to need a set of Allen keys. In my case, I'm going to need a 4, 5 and a 6mm Allen key. I've got a tub of grease. I'd just like to put a little bit of grease on the fasteners, just so they don't seize up over time, because especially under the mudguard, you're going to get a lot of dirt and they could corrode. So the grease just helps for in the future if you need to remove it. And I got a bit of the equivalent of WD-40, which I might need to just clean out the holes. So let's get on with it. Okay, so first things first is we need to remove the seat, which is a pretty simple task. So we've got this 6mm Allen bolts here. You have to bear with me because I'm doing this one-handed, trying to hold the camera. So we need to take these bolts out. You'll notice there's also a collar on there, and that the chrome collar goes with the seat bolts. So I'm going to chuck this in here so I don't lose it, and then we're going to move on to the second seat bolt. Exactly the same. So there's a collar on there, chrome collar. That the reason I'm saying this is because the bolts on the back have a different collar, which is a slightly different size, and you need to make sure that you put them back correctly, or you're not going to get the proper fit. Okay, so there's the second bolt. Again, chuck it in the plastic tub, and then we ain't gonna lose anything. So the seat is very easy to take out. Literally just pull it back and it's out. You can see here when you put it back on there the locating lugs. So yeah, simple task. So next we need to remove this rear fender. So it's a case of taking out the next set of bolts. So again, 6mm Allen wrench. Little tricky with one hand, but we're getting there. So as I said, the rear one has a different collar. It's black, and as I say, I don't believe they fit on the front. So make sure you put these back in the correct order. So here we go. So yeah, number 2 coming out. And something I discovered, because I've done this once before, that you need to ensure you take the collar. So if I leave that collar, the black collar in there, I don't know whether you can see it clearly. If you leave that in, you can't actually take the rear fender off. So make sure you take them out. There you go, I've dropped that. See? Okay, so there's all the bolts out. Now, the rear fender just clips in here. There's a little popper lug, so just pull the side panel out. You don't have to take it off, but just pull that. You'll see the lug that locates in there, and then that frees up the rear fender. So, and the same on this side. And there we have it. So easy when you know how. You know, quite often you can break panels quite easily if you don't know what you're doing. So that's the first stage, removing the seat and the rear fender. Okay, so let's now disconnect the cable that runs to the number plate light. So pull back this protective shroud. Then we want this terminal here that's got the brown and green wire on that goes underneath. And it's a case of just pressing down on this tab and simply just pulls out like so. So let's now set the camera up to look underneath. Okay, this is a little difficult to do as I'm holding the camera with one hand lying on my back, but we're on the underside of the rear fender. So you can see here 5mm Allen screw. So I'm just going to loosen that off. Likelihood is I'm going to drop it, yeah, but I ain't going to lose it. Okay, so that's the first. There's 3 in total. They're easy enough to get at. If I wasn't lying on my back one-handed, it'd be a damn sight easier. So just loosen them off and then, yeah, take out. So I'm going to try and support this and video at the same time. Okay. Another screw, you can see that. Okay, and then the final fastener to come out literally is just 3. So there we go. That's 3 fasteners out, and then that is, there we go. Job done. So we're halfway there. We've got the old ugly as sin number plate holder out. See there, the light, which we can't retrofit on the new part. So there's the underside. So the next step is to fit the new part. Okay, so let's get this new part fitted. I'm just going to dip the end of the fasteners in the grease just to stop them seizing up over a long period of time. So initially put the back one in first just to give it a grip. Yeah, so I've got a bite on there, and then get the other two fasteners. Again, a little bit of grease just to save them seizing up. Just get a bite. So pretty simple task, and I think the biggest issue is knowing how to strip it down in preparation. So in this case, the cap heads, I've used a 4mm Allen key to tighten up. Just nip them up. I did buy slightly shorter. I think the original bolts were 25mm long. These are 20mm. I wanted 15, but I couldn't get 15 from the store I go to. So 20 is okay. Just a little bit too long, but don't snag on anything or cause any problems. Okay, so just torque these up. Obviously, I don't want this thing falling off when I'm out on the trail or whatever. So, yeah, make sure they're pretty tight. Pretty hot today in Thailand, so getting a bit of a sweat on. I should get myself an air-conditioned workshop, but who knows. Okay, so that's bolted on, that's nice and solid. So the next step is to put everything back together. Okay, so the final stage, putting everything back together. First things first, in this case, put the shroud back over the terminals just to protect it from any damp and so on. So the next step is to pop the rear fender back on. So if you notice, these tabs go on the inside of the black shroud, and when we get to here, there's some location lugs either side, and then we can pop the side panels back on. So just push them in, and that's now ready for the seat to go back on. Well, in fact, we can put the rear fasteners on first. So if you recall, we want the rear fasteners with the black sleeves. So they locate in there and lock the rear fender on. So that's 1, 2, so I'm hoping this helps. You know, you're looking at putting things back together and not damaging anything. So I'm not going to torque them right up until I've got the front ones on. So the next task is to put the seat back on. So you'll see here, those hooks locate in here. Actually, they locate there. So you just hold the seat back a little and slide it in. Bit of a wiggle. Again, these black tabs go on the inside of the plastic panels. Okay. And then it's just a case of putting the retaining bolts back in with the chrome collar. as I said earlier, they are slightly different size, and I think if you mix them up, you're going to have issues with alignment and so on. So there's the first one. And the second one. Okay. So let's get my 6mm Allen key and knit those up. Just got to make sure everything's correctly in line to tighten up. Yep, that's it. Yeah, it takes a little bit of wiggling just to get the alignment right. Okay, that all looks good. Seats down. So I'm just going to knit them up. And there we have it. New tail tidy fitted. Looks, in my opinion, a hell of a lot better. Yeah, so there we have it, guys. Tail tidy fitted. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think it's a lot neater. Obviously, I don't have a number plate on it yet. It's a little different here in Thailand. When you buy a new vehicle, whether it be car or motorbike, you can wait anything from 1 to 2 months before you actually get a number plate. No issues. If you get stopped by the police, you just show them your driving license and receipt of purchase. Yeah, it should be at least a month before I get a number plate. And I'll pop that on there. But I think it looks a damn sight better than that contraption there. I don't know where you stand. You know, I know in the UK, tail tidies like this, I don't know whether you get away with them or not because there's no light for the number plate. But for what I need, it's perfect. So there you go. I hope the video's been helpful. And please like and share if you've enjoyed it. I will have more videos. That's the first part I've changed out on my CRF300L. The next thing is I've got a skid plate which is going to go underneath there. So that will be my next task. I may do it today or tomorrow. Lots of new things to go on. Lots of new videos to send you. Okay, bye for now, guys.